Simon and Gemma, thanks very much for coming here this afternoon, and as always Francis, as our Chair of Governors, is here to support me on what is an extremely important first induction session.
Unless governors understand the enormous amount of data that is available to a school, it is difficult for them to make strategic decisions. That is why the head teacher at King's Langley Secondary School runs data inductions for his new governors.
It's really important that governors are trained to understand what is the important data, what data means for us in terms of driving improvement, and how we can use data to actually improve performance for students and for staff.
Schools are now very data driven. We use data all of the time to determine how we're going to go forward, how we're going to make decisions, and how we're going to react to certain situations.
We find that the data session that Gary presents being really useful for new governors, and it helps us to explain the words that are being used and actually the importance of the data and how it's going to affect our job in trying to improve the school.
It is true that there's a tremendous amount of data that's generated these days, and it is vitally important that governors keep data in perspective. Without a doubt, the most important data is student outcomes, student performance, measured against how they should have done when they first entered the school. That's number one. That when a student comes in the school, starts in the school, they're going to make progress. And we often refer to how much progress they've made against their contextual value added prediction. So when we're setting targets, I'm all the time considering those descriptors: good, satisfactory and unsatisfactory. And when Ofsted come in and measure us, they're going to be giving a judgment call, and it's going to be described as good, satisfactory, unsatisfactory, or hopefully on occasions outstanding. Data is gathered from a number of sources. A lot of it comes to us from national sources. We're provided with data in the Raise Online package that comes out about Christmas time every year, which is a complete analysis of the school's performance in public examinations. But any decent school will be gathering objective information on a regular basis. And a really good school, I believe, would effectively filter that material out and present the key findings to governors. As a school, we're going to be taking the raw material in Year 7. Those students will have been measured, assessed at the end of their primary school, Key Stage 2, and those assessments, those SATs examinations, will determine the trajectory, the path that those children should proceed as they go through secondary education. So an indication of the ability profile of the school would be very useful. And interesting enough for us, you can see that we're in blue. This is our school, compared with national schools, and you can see that as soon as we move into the average territory, we actually have more average children, in terms of we have more children of average ability than other schools in the country.
Is there a way that you can use the data to move them on in school? Is there a way you can do that?
Well, there's going to be no simple answer to that, Gemma, is there? And you'll know there's going to be a whole range of different strategies to take them forward.
Yeah.
However, as a governor, you'd want to always know that we have a particular challenge as a school, even from this bit of simple data here, that we've got a lot of average ability kids. So you'd be wanting to know, when we're writing our school improvement plan, are we considering aspiration of these children?
So when we set targets for the school, we have a meeting, myself and the head teacher have a meeting with a school improvement partner, and our data manager for the school will come in then, and she will bring the full data analysis of all our previous year's results, and from that we go on to build hopefully ambitious but realistic targets for the year after that.
I think if one is setting a target for anybody, whether it be a teacher or for a student or a group of teachers or indeed for a school, there's always a capacity to go a certain measure in a year or 2 years, up a certain steepness of progress or improvement. And I think target setters need to appreciate that. Obviously, a target needs to be challenging, so people do stretch themselves along that improvement line. But it mustn't be so challenging that they've got no real chance of reaching it. And data allows us to know exactly where the start point is, so that we can measure the rate of movement. As long as we're setting the same steepness of progress, then it is reasonable to lower a target if a particular teacher or group of students are coming from a lower base.